Hello everyone, my name is Unrested and this is my YouTube channel. If you are watching this video, you are watching the introduction video and learning a little bit about my channel before you hop on in there and join the questioning and the learning and all the knowledge there is to get from this channel. Now first, let me just start off by explaining a few small things that I get every time people ask a few questions, and these are understandable. I understand why people want to ask this. First of all, they ask, what is a JFAQ? Because when I first started out, I started out with a bunch of shows called JFAQ. And that is for Japan or Japanese frequently asked questions. And that's a lot of questions people have about either living in Japan, visiting Japan, just about anything that can cover Japan. Books, manga, anime, bands, just about anything. Why do people ask me? I don't think I'm any sort of all great, knowing, knowledgeable man, and I don't even have any kind of certificate or degree in Japanology. I just happen to live in Japan. I'm a gaijin who lives in Japan and speaks Japanese, doesn't write it very well, doesn't read it very well, but can speak Japanese. And I guess that kind of makes me a little bit of a source. And I like to make channels about it and videos about it, so that makes me a little bit better source. On top of it, I like to research the stuff that I don't know. And I guess that raises the bar a little bit higher. So that's what this channel's for, that's what JFAQ is about. If you have any more questions about that, you can PM me. I don't really have time to add it to this video now. Also, let's begin with a few introduction things as far as asking questions about Japan or asking questions to me. Now, some may wonder, well Scott, what do you do in Japan? How are you staying there and how are you able to live there? Well, I am married to a Japanese woman, but I started out on a work visa teaching here in Japan. No, I do not teach anymore. Now I am an illustrator for an RPG company, which I will not name due to the fact that I don't want any letters or email or connection going to them. That is my current job, and if you yourself have dreams of working here, that's fine. I totally understand, and I support it 100%. But there are a few things you should know before you even start to ask me any questions about, can you get a job here in Japan? Can you move here to Japan? What visa can you get in Japan? Let me just start by saying, if you want to teach in Japan and get a work visa, you need a college degree. Okay. You can teach on a working holiday visa, which does not need a degree, but you cannot stay in Japan when that visa ends. Americans, I'm sorry, but you cannot get a working holiday visa at all. Other countries, it's okay. Now, as for actually getting your work visa, that's going to happen through your company in which you apply to the job for. I cannot connect you with any kind of sources, or I have no connections to immigration or anybody else who can help you get that. That is your job. If you are super interested in doing that, you need to do a little bit of research and use this powerful internet tool we call Google. If you can't do that, then don't start with me as your first line of questioning, because I will ignore, delete. Okay? Moving on, if you wish to work a different type of job in Japan, good for you. That is awesome. Ganbatte ne? But do realize, to get a work visa in Japan, you are almost always, 100% of the time, filling a position a Japanese person cannot work. That means something a Japanese person cannot already do. For example, teach English. Sorry Japan, your English sucks. You are rated even below Cambodia for how bad your English is. In fact, it sucks so bad that about 90% of the population can barely speak a few words. That's why you will always be able to fill that job as a native English speaker. Non-native English speakers, you might be able to get a job. You might get a job teaching your native language, but I have no connection to that either, and I can't help you, for example, if you want to come here and teach Spanish. Sorry, I don't speak Spanish. I don't know anything about teaching it. That's up to you to find out. Moving on from there, any other job that you would want to work, first thing you would need before you even set your mind on that is the ability to speak perfect native level fluent Japanese. If you cannot even speak that level of Japanese, do not send me an email about trying to get a job outside of teaching in Japan. It will not happen. you will not get another job. It is impossible. You must speak Japanese. Question number 2 that I hate the most. Can you be a psychologist or psychiatrist in Japan? Now, a lot of people watch a few of my videos and they learn about, yes, Japan's got problems with depression, suicide, hikikomori, shut-ins, noda, etc., etc. Okay, yes, Japan does have a few mental problems. Okay, this is the dark side of Japan. Every country has a dark side. Please do not think I am picking on Japan. I am from America, and we have a huge problem with guns and violence and all different types of stuff that I can't even put into this video because it would make it ages long, okay? My country's fucked up too, okay? I'm not saying Japan's perfect. Anyway, if you wanted to come here and be a psychologist or psychiatrist, or you think you could come and help Japan with its mental problems, first, again, do you speak native level Japanese? Because if you do not, stop right there. Shut up. Learn about the country, because you obviously have not learned anything. Japan speaks Japanese, they don't speak English. Why? Why would you go to a psychologist or a psychologist for your deepest pain, your deepest problems, and speak in a second language? Does that make sense? Would you try to express yourself in a second language, a language that is not your native tongue? Why would you do that? You wouldn't. That doesn't make sense. Think about these questions before you ask them, please. Also, if you have no knowledge of Japanese culture, for example, I'm going to list a few words real quick. Hikoshi, hikikomori. Do you know what those words mean? If you do not know what those words mean, then it's not time for you to ever think about becoming a psychologist here. Because if you do not know about the culture, how could you help a person in that culture? If you were possibly born in Japan, moved to America after, and then came back, I could see that working. If you were born in America, you know American culture very well, that will do absolutely nothing to help Japanese people. You can't come here and counsel people in the lifestyle you know nothing about. Think about it, people, before you ask that question. I swear to God, if I get another email about can I become a psychologist in Japan, I'm gonna reach through my computer and punch you in whatever country you're at. I will find a way to do it. Japan has the technology. Okay, moving on. Any other questions that I can think about that I really don't like? Just check some old JFAQs, please. You don't have to watch all 200 and whatever number of them I have at this point, 240 something as of making this video. You don't have to go through and watch each one. There's no point. Because at the very top of each one, there is a title. And that title says what question has been answered. Okay? For example, I have been asked about vending machines about a zillion times. I've also been asked about ridiculous bullshit foreign newspapers write about Japan that are absolutely retarded, okay? If it sounds too insane or too crazy, it's probably not true. Guess what? Other countries write insane, crazy shit about America too that's not true. It happens everywhere. Don't believe everything you read. Research first. Hello, Google! Anyway, this is my introduction video. I will be also starting a J-News column that will talk about Japanese news. JFAQ will continue, which will answer all your questions about Japan. I will also have a few J stories, which will tell you about a few stories about my life here in Japan. Not so exciting maybe to some of you. And last but not least, this Saturday, next Saturday I should say, we will be starting the OSOROSHII Saturday. And if you don't know what OSOROSHII means, it means scary and creepy. That's right, we'll have some creepy, scary stories for you from Japan every Saturday. Japan has its creepypastas too, folks. So that's it, that's my introduction. Guys, if you have any more questions there, please don't ask them on the questions or comments or PM me here. Go to the fan page, JFAQ Unrested fan page, post your questions there. When I post a status update that says the next JFAQ is coming, please post your questions. Don't just start randomly sending me messages. Your question will never get answered. Just follow those simple rules and you too can have your question answered online. I'm Unrested. This is JFAQ.